What's happening, guys, and welcome to the Mixed Opinions podcast. I'm your host, MixedByJocelin, and to my right is Proton, my co-host and friend. And today we have a very, very special guest, so make sure you like and subscribe. We have the one and only Sean D on the podcast, mega UK engineer, worked with the likes of M. Honcho, Tion Wayne, Unknown T, Digger D, Central C, and the list goes on. It's unbelievable. How you doing, bro?
I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Sweet. Got down here all right?
Yeah.
We had some technical issues.
Yeah.
But
But yeah, all good.
Sweet. And we all good? We all running?
Yeah, man, we're all running.
Cool.
Nice. So, my first question is, it's going to be, I want to go right down to the beginning because we know each other a bit. We go back. We're friends. And I remember you told me a story. The first time I ever met you, we were at it was like a temporary studio of yours. Where was it?
Which one?
We were with Christian, and it was like a temp spot because you were building.
Oh, in Ealing.
Ealing,
that was
yeah.
a spot in Ealing. Yeah.
Yeah, and we were talking about how I got started, and you said you had like a funny parallel story as well. And I wanted to talk about the German whip.
Oh,
song.
Yeah.
So how did that come about, and what was the story behind that?
Well, that was like the first song I did that got chart success. So it means a lot to me.
Yeah.
But how it came about, I was recording Meridian Dan and Bloodline because Bloodline actually had a studio below me.
Okay.
So, and Meridian Dan's part of their crew. And yeah, they used to just come up to me because they knew my quality was good in my studio. So
Nice.
yeah, just kind of
For like a recording, or was it more?
Yeah, I used to record, or they'd re-record with me. So they'd do
okay.
versions in their studio and then re-record. But yeah, and then it was just another tune, and then it just kind of took off.
Did you have any kind of like inkling that it was going to be a big tune, or it was going to be your first one?
I mean, you kind of think every tune's going to be a big tune.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You kind of got gassed over it. Obviously, JME jumped on it.
Right.
Which was a big thing.
Yeah. And he was like popping at the time as well.
Yeah. So, yeah. But then you just never know, really. And it just took off.
Yeah. And then after then, you said that like it was a weird experience for you because like you think, oh, that's going to be the beginning and everything's going to start snowballing. But not to like air out your laundry, but I had a very similar experience with my first big record. Everything just went a bit quiet, right?
Yeah, of course. Well, the thing is, it never really takes you to the place you want it to, or you think it will.
Exactly.
Because you think like, I've just had a top 20, I'm in a different league now. You think like money-wise, you're in a different league.
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Yeah, but it kind of is a bit of a reality check, isn't it? When you get that and then you're like, okay.
Yeah, why is the queue not round the block? Sort of thing. Yeah.
I mean, what it did do was just boost my reputation. So I kind of took the positives from it. And from the reputation boosting, I got more work. And even though it wasn't like chart work, it's still kind of.
So things are very different now, though.
Yeah.
Right. Every time I open my Instagram, it's like another mega record has come from the Sean D camp.
Yeah.
So when did it really start to sort of like pick up, and like what was the record surrounding that?
I mean, it wasn't just a one thing that happened. It was just a really gradual process. I think the biggest change for me was when I moved into a studio in Tottenham. So I was in like a mouse infested studio in Enfield,
right?
Which was like cheap rent.
Yeah. We had one in Croydon. The same vibe. We shared one in Croydon.
So from there, I was there for 7 years, and then eventually I was like, all right, fuck it. I don't know if I can swear.
Mate, it's all good.
I don't know if I can.
A few minutes in,
mate, we ain't lasted long. We can't swear. That's for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I took the leap, and I got like a really nice studio. And it's in a place called 1087.
Oh, okay.
And the rent was like 4 times the rent of my older one.
Oh, really?
I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to take the leap. And then, from there.
Invested in yourself sort of thing.
Yeah. And then I was like, I'm earning good money doing that hourly sort of recording, but I really want to take it to the next level. And my passion is in mixing, you know what I mean? Because you're being paid for your work rather than your time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was even gonna say, being like a recording engineer and like session engineer, that's mostly my day to day. But along with other things, would you say that like the transition from people knowing you and knowing that you're accessible, like, oh, I can just bell up Sean and in a few hours, if he's free, I might get his time. Did you notice like a change in relationships with people when it was like, I can't do this, but I can maybe delegate this to someone else and have them look after you? And when you want the mix and then obviously the prices hike and stuff, like how did that affect relationships?
Yeah, it was a massive change for me.
I can imagine.
You know, when you've spent like 10 years building up a client base for recording, and then you just turn around one day and you're just like, oh, I'm not doing any recording except for like maybe 2 artists, you know. Who
was it literally like that kind of like
just,
one day wake up and like I'm not doing it?
It was
anymore.
After I got my first big mixing job, which was Heady One's album, which was the first signed album I did. And then I was like,
was that his first project?
It was his second project, but his first one that was signed to a major.
Was the project title?
It was the 1, 2.
Yeah.
So I did the 1, but the 1 was like an indie sort of situation, and then the 1, 2.
I didn't even know you mixed. To be fair, I wasn't even aware of you at the time. When that had come out, but I definitely noticed the increase in quality. Just generally being a listener.
Nice.
Yeah, but it was just like the main thing for me was like all of my old clients would just be like, "Oh, you've gone Hollywood on me," you know what I mean? You're like. You think you're like this and that, and but you have to kind of do what's best for your career, innit?
Of course. I mean, let's be honest. If you were in the mice infested studio and they just got signed, what are the chances are that they're bringing their services, or the label will allow them to bring their services back to the mice infested studio?
Exactly.
So it's just about elevation, I guess. It's kind of good.
And I think I was trying to explain this to some of my family members recently. Actually, I think it's kind of different with an engineer, like in terms of like you growing a business, because as an engineer, what the people are hiring you for you. They're not hiring you for like, you know, a product that you're making or whatever it is. So you it's not like you can expand to keep the prices low. Like the only way you're really going to grow is by, you know, making yourself more valuable. Yeah. So like, totally understand that. 100%. So it was round about M Honcho that it all started to...
Yeah. Because when I got the nice studio, Kenny Allstar brought me M Honcho to go over his EP. That he was just doing. And then from M Honcho, I met Heady, because Heady done a song with M Honcho. And then from Heady, I met Bane, who done a song with. And then so...
It always seems to be these... Because it's a similar situation for me. It always seems to be these radio guys that draw the links. It's crazy, because for me, it was Kenny... introduced me to loads of artists as well, but it was more so like Charlie Sloth and Jamal Edwards. They were like just the culture links. Do you know what I mean? Like they're putting everything
sort of
together.
Industry people.
Yeah, exactly. But you never really realize that it's gonna be like that. Do you know what I mean? Or you never think, they're the people that you wanna sort of like get to know and help out. Do you know what I mean? When you're starting off,
it's almost like if you run a football club. There's no point going to the park and talking to footballers or kids. Do you know what I mean? You got to go to like the clubs they play for, and it's like scouting essentially. They have the resources,
the ear to the ground,
the talent. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, there's key people, isn't there, that can build your network like through good relationships. Do you know what I mean? And it's not always who you think. It's not always an artist.
No, exactly that. Well, that's what I was saying. You know, a lot of I get loads of people. You probably get the same, like jumping on your gram, like, oh, can I get some advice? And you know, they're always saying like, oh, I need to like find the right artist or whatever. And I'm like, that does help. And like, you know, there's big success stories, especially in America, like we were talking about earlier, like Mixed by Ali and you know, TDE and Kendrick and all those guys. And then even like 40 with Drake and stuff. But like, you know, if you help out and work the people that are connected to everyone, do you know what I mean? Your options expand.
You can be the guy for one person that's in control of like 10 or 15 guys, and then you could be the guy for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I've always had my sort of vision was to not put all my eggs in one basket.
Exactly, yeah.
Because I know some people, they just partner up with someone and that's how they do their career. Yeah. But I've always had this sort of like trust issues, because from like when I did German Whip, it was like, you kind of learn that people, when they get to a certain level, they just follow the money. The loyalty and stuff, it kind of goes.
100%, 100%. Well, it's funny you say that. I mean, not to try like cuss out our side of the industry too much, but like I do find that happens a lot more in the UK. Like the UK feels kind of divided sometimes,
Yeah.
and like a bit more distant. Like I was at NAMM earlier this year, and everyone just is cool with everyone, and they're linking and they're chatting and that. And that's why we're trying to do more stuff like this and just build a community around it, and just say, you know, like everyone's cool, man, and everyone there's enough pot for everyone. Do you know what I mean? So,
No, definitely.
but talking about all your eggs in one basket, obviously you're not just a mix engineer or a master engineer, you're a business owner as well. And I recently got the opportunity, and you showed me around your studio, Signal Studios. Signature.
Yeah.
Sorry, apologies. How did that come about?
Yeah, so it was in lockdown, so COVID. But I mean, I've always had the vision, because even when I'd done the plug stuff, which was my first sort of like label situation, it's like there's a top you can reach with engineering. And I love mixing, but I'm always trying to do a new challenge. Do you know what I mean? Especially business-wise, because like you said, there's only so much value. There's a top to it, you know?
Yeah, there's a ceiling. Yeah.
So for me, it was like, what's the next challenge? What can I do? And for me, I've always rented studios, and they're expensive in London.
Yeah.
So I thought the best business model, if I can get the capital together, would be to build my own spot and then sort of generate revenue through sessions myself. So ownership, really.
Yeah, so just as a point, it's not just a single room. It's like a studio complex. Yeah, it's like it's a big space. It's pretty impressive. Your room is mega as well. And you've also got a Atmos room in there as well. Atmos, yeah. That's wicked. So how long have you been involved in that space?
As soon as I heard about it, I jumped on it. Yeah. Because I was really excited just about the sort of something new to mixing. You know what I mean?
The ceiling was raised slightly. Yeah.
So just jumped on it straight away. Bought the whole wrong setup from Atmos setup.
Oh really?
Yeah.
What did you get?
Well, I bought a surround sound thing without the right sound card to, because it was just an Atmos surround sound system with an amp.
Oh, really?
But like not doing enough. This was in the very early days.
Yeah. Well, it's still early days, you know. Like
started doing more research, and then I got the Avid Matrix.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's like the standard now, really. Yeah. And what speakers are you using?
Focal Solos. I have Focals everywhere.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
that's your.
And I'm not sponsored either.
Oh, really?
We all love Focal though. Focal.
Yeah. Well, you must have a lot of them then, innit? They need to shout you and give you a little discount, innit?
I'm waiting.
They're based
France.
No, but they got an office in Tileyard, no?
I think they got a show thing they do there.
Maybe you should just turn up one day and be like, do you know how many speakers I bought? Where's my cup of tea? Do you know what I mean? That's cool, man. So are you doing like near enough, like all the label projects are getting, they're getting that version done as well?
It's majority of them, because they require sort of an Atmos mix with the delivery now. But it's sometimes a fight because they have their in-house Atmos people. I'm like, no, you're using my Atmos.
Right, yeah. But, a couple of guys are getting in there and getting comfortable in it. Yeah.
So I've got my assistant, Josh. Yeah. He does a lot of my Atmos stuff with me as well.
Nice.
Yeah, shout out, Josh. I was also going to ask, while on the topic of Atmos, I also feel like, because it's pretty new, I mean, I'm guessing you've been mixing for a decade up. Because it's pretty new, would you say like the learning curve of being as comfortable as you are as a stereo mixer and then being an Atmos mixer, like what would you say, sort of how far off your level at stereo would you say you are for Atmos?
Well,
the understanding wise anyway.
The way Atmos is mostly done nowadays is it's not actually mixed for Atmos, so it's already mixed, and then you're just kind of changing the stereo
adapting the panning of it.
Yeah. So it's fun, but I feel like it needs to develop into being an actual mix or an actual production for Atmos.
So the artists start at that level. I was talking to someone about this actually the other day, and it's funny you say that because the rooms if we were going to do this properly, the rooms need to change. Yeah. So the where we track and write these songs need to be in an Atmos room. Because obviously right now we're when we're making these songs and we want to do cool panning techniques, the artist can hear it straight away because we have a stereo set of speakers. The only way that we're really going to be able to achieve that is if they start tracking in these rooms from the get-go.
What would if you're pulling things sort of forward and backwards in a mix in Atmos, what would the mic placement techniques be sort of in years to come, do you think?
I mean, obviously four bi-directional mics and everything. And it could be really cool.
Yeah, it would be. I think the ceiling for it's pretty high, to be honest.
Yeah.
So you sort of answered my next question. So you're in and you're a fan.
I'm a fan,
Okay, cool. Because
I'm a fan of the concept. I'm not so much a fan of the listening ability for the average consumer. Yeah. It's just not there.
Right now, it does feel a little bit like Apple heavy, and they're just using it as an advertisement to sell headphones. A little bit.
Yeah.
And subscriptions to music.
Yeah. I don't know why Spotify haven't jumped on it yet.
Yeah.
I feel like when Spotify executes something, they usually execute it really well. So we just have to wait and see, genuinely.
Yeah. And I feel like the headphones, how it sounds in headphones is not as good as how it sounds in an Atmos room.
No, of course not. Yeah.
So when that is closer, then I think it'll be more.
Yeah, 100%. And well, they're starting to release these cool speakers as well that are reading your room and using the reflections of your room to build so you haven't got to have 10 speakers.
12,
yeah, exactly. You can have a front facing speaker and it will analyze your room. There's some that aren't announced yet or anything, but they're in the next couple of years you'll be able to have it in your lounge.
I mean if I forgot what car company just released a car, it was at NAMM. I don't know if anyone saw it. It was
Corvette Corvette, I think.
Corvette?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Well, they've got Atmos in the
car.
I was thinking about this, and I was like,
it's the diamond logo.
Yeah, I was like, is it a sort of going to be an issue with distraction? You know, if you've got some.
Yeah, that's
noise.
true. Yeah, that's kind of true.
I mean, you've got to think of it also like this. Now, the way cars are, initially a car stereo isn't stereo. In radio stations and stuff, they are using stereo equipment, stereo limiters. It's just been to make things broadcast ready. It's been like that since the beginning of time, right?
Yeah, but everything develops.
I know, but if you're listening to songs that only ever existed in stereo without an Atmos mix and you're driving in your car, difference is going to be noticeable.
But that's why if you're an engineer, you should 110% go and get certified.
Table, sir.
Certified right now, because all the labels are trying to go back and get all of their back catalogue done. So they're trying to get everything done that they possibly can. Anything that was done in stereo and they have stems for.
I've done a couple.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Eventually everything will be there anyway. I think it's the future. Personally, I'm kind of, I don't. If it's Dolby,
I just mean, especially with the radio and broadcasting industry, it's been built on stereo reproduction since the beginning of time.
That will be
It will be a pain. Smaller stations.
Yeah.
I mean,
the radio will definitely be the last to adapt, but I actually think people's listening experience of it, I reckon it will become way more popular in a car first, in terms of a true listening experience, because you can actually put all of the speakers you need in a car and do it, because there's already 5 speakers, so they're not far off. Do you know what I'm saying?
And
so
of course all the VR sort of stuff.
I've sat in a car and I've heard it, and it's actually cool. Super impressive.
Well,
really
it's the
impressive.
perfect sort of acoustic
environment. It was really cool. I listened to what was it, Kraftwerk's 3D.
Well, that's the thing.
Mental.
Electronic music, it's
genuinely built for that. When you think about, you got oscillators in sort of that you can position. Do you know what I mean? If you're gonna make a normal synth line or whatever, we're just getting stereo loop sort of thing that we're having to mix in with music. As in production, there is some sort of 3D synths. I'm not sure if it's sort of.
I've heard about these.
But there are 3D synthesizers that are being made. I think they're all digital sort of plugins. But where you can actually take elements. If you've got a sawtooth layered with a sine, put them in different positions.
And within the VST, which is kind of crazy.
Pretty cool.
That's cool.
But that's the direction VSTs and stuff are going in, really, I feel like. I saw one the other day, it was literally a cartoon. You use a wheel and sort of scrub the image and it changes. It's sound design tools, but this is where we're at. It's probably some sort of AI and stuff.
I think they're a little bit stuff like that is a bit gimmicky.
That's very gimmicky.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
even with
Future,
in my humble opinion, there's some hot takes, and I want to ask your opinions, both of you, on it. AI assisting tools, digital tools for mixing, plugins and stuff.
Okay.
Plugins, websites, services.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, man?
I definitely think AI is the future. Obviously, because I mean, it threatens a lot of creative industries, you know?
Yeah.
So, but how I think it will just be like an assistant. So the same way right now, you can get it to write an essay, but you need to go over the essay.
Yeah.
So eventually you'll have the technology where it can do you a good mix in the style of, say, Sean D.
Yeah.
Or something. And then, but you'll need that touch up at the end.
Yeah, yeah.
So then the job of an engineer might just be that touch up thing. So then it will just take the legwork away.
Yeah.
Which isn't, I don't know if I agree with it.
It's interesting.
But
I feel like
it doesn't matter if you agree with it or not.
It's the
like
future,
it's coming whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you
I would
adapt?
say so. I think that as of anything, it got to a point where even with music and live events and stuff, people got bored of hearing artists perform over their PA tracks, and then the element of live music and live instruments and stuff really been pushed back to the forefront, especially once you reach a certain level.
Yeah.
I feel like once you reach a certain level in mixing, I think maybe for like the home studio and sort of bedroom level stuff and, early stuff, AI might be huge. But I do think eventually you'll need that
I mean, it
human
already
touch.
is.
Yeah.
There's so many like I get, obviously I'll get like sort of like a lot of non-label work, independent work come through, and they're not getting like masters and stuff done by me anymore. They're just asking for the mix because then they can get it for cheaper, and then they're just running it through Lander, which is AI
and other things. But you know what? I think when
It's
it
about
comes,
budget.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to mastering, I don't know, most mastering engineers I've spoken to that specialize in just mastering, they'll tell you they don't care about any characteristic of your song other than the sonic characteristics and levels and stuff. I feel like asking a computer to do a job that is, we'd say, mostly scientific, I don't know if you'd agree, when it comes to mastering, it's not too far-fetched. Do you know what I mean?
It's not too far-fetched, but again, it's to do with taste, isn't it? Because a computer can't have taste, you know what I mean? So if it's a trap song and you want it to have a bit more low-end than it's meant to scientifically have.
That is true.
That
is true.
And the thing with mixing is and music creation, right? Just at the core of it is we're innovators, right? Yeah. So we've always got to be changing and creating new things and breaking the rules. Exactly.
AI are the rules, aren't they?
Yeah. They can't break their own rules.
It's
Like
also
who started
machine
gliding their bases and stuff like that.
Well,
like,
one day you never know. So.
Well, that's a scary day. I'm staying indoors that day. Do you know what I mean?
I agree. But I guess it's machine learning over time. If more music is very saturation heavy. I was saying this to a friend who doesn't quite understand the elements of mixing, and I was like just warning them that it will be some weird words that we say on this podcast you won't understand, like mud and muddy, and it's so normal for us to say things like that, but in my opinion, I feel like the average person is starting to realize, oh, when I played music that I liked 5 or 10 years ago, I can't hear the bass through my phone. Now with like the craze for saturation and distortion and stuff like that, the 808's above everything else now.
Sausage fat now.
It's all taste, isn't
literally sausage fat now. It's just clipped to shreds. And again, but to me, like you said, taste, I think that is in good taste, if you know what I mean. So it's just the science, I feel like with machine learning, it can catch up.
It could.
It
Definitely
possibly
could.
catch
It's not
up.
far off.
It's not.
So that's all. We're talking like hella in the future now. I want to go right back to the very beginning, and I want to ask you what your first ever setup was, if you can even remember.
So what? When I was an engineer, or like
you're recording?
When I was a youth.
Well,
I mean both.
Yeah, both really.
So, I think it's like my dad's old computer using Acid. Do you remember Acid?
Right.
Acid Pro.
Yeah.
And just a dial-up connection. I'm that old, so yeah. But then when I think, and then I had Fruity Loops.
Yeah.
But when I became an engineer, I was about 20, and I built a computer myself for about 400 quid. I was using Rocket 5s.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing, by the way.
Shout out everybody using Rocket 5s.
Everyone's had a
One
pair
day
of
you'll
Rockets,
get
bro.
the fancy vocals like Sean D.
And then just a Focusrite and a Rode NT1A, and that was my
That
setup.
Rode though, that is I swear by it to this day. I
Yeah,
genuinely-
yeah.
Any new
does the
clients
job.
I have, I suggest buy that mic. It's about £150 or whatever, but forget the bundle things and all of this stuff. Buy that mic because it can go a long way.
I mean, that's what German Whip was recorded on a Rode NT1.
You guys heard it here.
Sick.
You guys heard it.
And that was
cool.
the setup I used for 7 years till eventually I went UAD.
Okay,
That
yeah,
was
the
big
upgrade.
change. Yeah.
Yeah. And the Focusrite was what, like a one?
Was it the Scott? Was it the red one,
whatever
or
it
was
is?
it like before that? Probably, right?
It wasn't the red one, it was the
weren't
black
one.
Oh,
the
okay.
sapphire.
But then it packed in on me.
Was it a sapphire?
Yeah, that's it. I think so,
yeah, yeah.
And then it packed in and I got
Pre's were
the
good.
Scarlet.
They do pack in.
Yeah.
But the pre's on the
Yeah.
sapphire are actually better than the
It's
Scarlet.
Done the job. I feel like
if you ask me.
if you start too high end, it's too not easy, but you're not challenged as an engineer. So
I
if you
agree.
have to come up, you do the legwork. Like,
Yeah, because you gotta like do some serious EQing to get to get that stuff to sound nice, man. You gotta really listen to what you're recording. Do you know what I
So
mean?
then, like the first time I used a good studio, and I was like, "Bro, I don't even have to mix it."
Yeah, it sounds great.
Running
It's
through
insane,
a compressor,
right?
it's like,
Yeah.
so-
Yeah, that's it. Well, that's what they say. They say record like it's like you're mixing, and then mix like you're mastering, and then the master is barely has to be touched. You know what I mean? That's what you've got to go for. Because I hate it. You know, I'll be sitting there with an artist, and they're like, I'm trying to get something right with them or whatever, and they're like, oh, we can do that in the mix. I'm like, nah, bro. That's like not a word that we say in the
it's
studio.
like, the better the demo, the better the end result.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
I love it when I get sent a track from a client and I'm like, I don't even know what I can do here.
Yeah.
Like I always find something and then they're the ones that never have any problems either.
definitely.
You know what I mean?
100%.
The ones that send you the ratchet ass recordings that have been recorded in a mad way, yeah.
I mean, I had one and genuinely, I didn't even know this was possible. The vocal was
You're probably
out of
well
phase.
above all this now.
Yeah.
Everything comes
Yeah.
clean.
No, you would actually be surprised, man. Like I
Really?
still get and it's still a massive challenge to this day for me, trying to do a mix and convince an artist that this is like what sounds good, as opposed to their demo. Because
And can we re-record it or whatever? Yeah.
but like because demoitis is a real thing, man.
Oh man, yeah,
And
100%.
yeah,
I
it's
try and
frustrating.
tell my clients this all the time. They want to relay things and then they feel like they're not, they think it's a mood thing.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to explain to them, it's because you've lived with and enjoyed this. We haven't touched this or opened this project in about 3 months.
Yeah.
You've played it to all your friends, you've shared it on your social
Yeah.
media as a snippet, and now you want to essentially change the record.
Yeah.
Not too much, but I tell them when it comes to you have a previous love for something, it's hard to match. It's
Of
very
course, yeah.
difficult to
You have
match.
to be open-minded, and some artists get that, but some artists don't. And
I'll literally tell the artist, I'm like, bro, you're suffering from demoitis.
Yeah.
Like, I'll say straight up, like, I'll say, I'll do all these changes for you, bro. But like, genuinely, I think you're making a mistake. Because, and I say this to them is like, you know, I'm saying this because I care. Because once this comes out, it's not just your work.
Yeah.
It's everyone's who's involved.
100%, yeah.
Do you know
So
what I mean?
It's reflective on me as
Yeah.
well, you know,
No, of
as an
course.
engineer. Because if I have to do something that I don't like, but that's part of the game, I feel like. It's like
Yeah.
you have to humble yourself and not let your ego of what you think sounds good get in the way of what the client wants.
I agree.
Do you know what
I agree.
mean?
I mean, what do you have any pet peeves with any recalls and stuff like that? Generally, is there not as in anything specific, but is there a specific recall thing that you get at times and is a pet peeve for you?
I mean, that's the main one, isn't it? It's just like, I want it to sound more like the demo. But, I mean, pet peeves, I can't really think of any aside from that. Obviously, it's with the vocal is a big one as well.
Yeah.
Because when...
that's my pet peeve is just vocals that are a bit too hot.
When it's a badly mixed vocal and they love it,
Yeah.
and you're just like, no, I want to make it clean, or like, and then you just can't. Or it's too wet,
Yeah.
and there's like shit ton of reverb, and then you're like, I don't think it should have this much reverb, but they're used to that. So,
Yeah.
Oh, like you're having to recreate the reverb and pull it
Yeah.
up, and you're like, nah, it should be tucked
I
away.
prefer to like make the vocal sit nice, reverb in the back. But
Do you ever do like, if it's like a really big project, and I've done this in the past where I've been like adamant that I think something should sound a certain way. Do you do like an alternative version, mix it how they're asking,
yeah.
and then send them both and be like, play it to people?
So when it's a new client, I normally always send them at least 2 or 3 versions.
Right.
So I do like one that's very close to the reference, one that's like completely me going wild, doing what I want, and then one in the middle.
Oh, okay.
And I'll send them that and then
All at once?
all at once.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Because otherwise you can lose clients pretty quick.
Oh, and that way it makes it look like, Sean's going in, you know, he's listening.
It makes them think that you care, and it also makes them sort of, you can learn what they're looking for. You know what I mean? Rather than just doing what you think.
Yeah.
I mean, when obviously you get to a certain level and you have your skill set, you just kind of want to flex your abilities. I feel it.
Yeah, that's what makes it fun as
No,
well.
precisely,
When they're like,
precisely.
when they're like, just go for it, and you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
just, you know what I mean?
All right, well, speaking of make it fun, quick fire round. So I'm just going to ask you a few little questions.
Off the top of the dome.
Yeah.
Don't think
Just
about it.
Go through them. All right, Valhalla or Lexicon Reverb?
Valhalla.
What's the first thing and only thing you'll grab from a studio in a file? Touch wood, obviously.
My hard drive.
Cool. Fab Filter L2 or Waves L2?
Fab Filter L2.
1176 or LA2A? Physical.
1176.
Neumann or AKG?
Neumann.
Logic or Pro Tools?
Pro Tools. Yeah.
House or Garage?
House.
And last one, consoles, digital or analog?
Console analog.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't use one.
I was gonna say, didn't you say you had the Avid console? So you have a digital
No,
console?
I don't
Not
use.
at all.
No,
I don't
that's
use,
the
Interface.
That's for the
Cool, got it.
I don't
the
use a
surround
console.
sound.
Okay,
It's
so
all, yeah,
are you
all in the
completely in the
box.
box?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm completely in the box, but I use a couple bits of gear that's like analog digital.
Yeah.
So the new one I got is the Freck Tube. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No, I've not heard of it. Who makes it?
It's by Freck Tube. I think, are they Freckport? I think the company is. But yeah, it's a pretty new one, and it's just got like 4 tubes in it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and you can just run. It's just this big.
Yeah.
Bit of analog.
Like a half rack unit. sort
Yeah,
of size.
half rack unit, but it's like a mobile sort of thing, and you just
okay.
can plug it into your laptop.
Oh, that sounds. Sean D's giving you game.
Yeah, so
Nice.
it's amazing because I'm all in the box, and then if you just run a tiny parallel of your whole mix through the tubes,
Yeah.
then you just get
Warms
a bit
it up.
warmth.
Right, what's that called again?
Freck Tube. that
Freck
one,
Tube.
yeah.
Okay, cool. You see on my Instagram in a couple of weeks. I thought, when you said Valhalla, I thought you were going to say Lexicon, because you put me onto that Lexicon plugin.
Yeah. I mean, I've been a Lexicon guy for years. Like that was my go-to, but Valhalla Vintage Verb is the new sound, isn't it?
It is, yeah, and everyone uses it. Like what's it, the 60s?
Isn't
The
it
70s.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the orange one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I was all Valhalla, and now my hot take, of course, I literally like to use almost the different reverb for different elements of the track. So the Valhalla will live there, but the Pro R, I really like the Pro R on.
Yeah.
It's beautiful on musical things. I wouldn't say vocals as a main reverb.
I find myself
It's not got
having
much
to
character.
EQ that so much, though,
Yeah.
to get the sound
Bro,
that I want.
don't sleep on the Pro Tools stock Deverb.
Is it?
Reverb, I
sleep
hear
on
stuff
that,
about.
bro.
I've been
We're not
hearing
Pro
about
Tools guys,
reverb.
Like we're
Okay,
Logic users.
Yeah.
Can't even
I
lie,
mean,
but
Never
I
underestimate a stock plugin.
yeah.
No, of course
Yeah.
not. I think the greatest stock plugin ever, in my opinion, is Alchemy on Logic.
Okay, yeah.
I genuinely think.
Yeah,
like,
but
just
that
for production.
Yeah, but do you know what that
one of the
was before?
It was Alchemy by I forgot what company made it.
Camel Audio.
Yeah,
It was Camel Audio,
Yeah,
and I
it
remember there was
it
outrage when
Logic
bought it
Yeah.
because they didn't do anything with it for
But that's
time.
all right.
Yeah.
So Apple, if you're listening, and Camel Audio, if you're listening, why is Camel Fat not a stock plugin in Logic? Because that was it's pretty old, but it's stock. Like
They wait in it because they want to do upgrades.
Yeah.
yeah,
what I mean?
well, yeah. We'll
To
see.
touch on that point you were saying about using different reverbs, that's what I do as well.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I just try and build a texture out of different reverbs so you get like a
Precisely.
unique sound.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I'll use like the Valhalla, and then I'll layer it with like a plate on the Lexicon
Yeah.
or something like that, like and have it like running at slightly different times and you get like a nice feeling like with the reverbs, especially on vocals anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then like I'll like a Lexicon on like a snare, but I wouldn't bother with like a Valhalla on a snare. I just feel like it's a bit too
Yeah.
hard to
I
tame
mean, especially
sometimes.
like if I'm mixing someone like Huncho or Nath, I try and use about 6 different reverbs on their voice, but all
Really?
just subtly with different timings.
That's I was listening to Nate's new album today.
Okay.
Mixed by You, right?
Yeah.
What's it called? High Profile?
Yeah.
Everyone check that out if you're trying to hear. The space Sean is in as of right now, 2023.
Yeah, that was the latest thing.
That's the latest release.
Last
week.
Release. Yeah, I want to ask because it's a sound of music that sonically I'm a fan of. And I feel like now learning about sort of your story from, say, German Whip up to even where you are now, and when you said you started working with M. Huncho and artists like that, when that sound sort of hijacked the UK, would you say there was a challenge in mixing it because you was probably in charge of the most sort of popular versions of that music?
Yeah, so...
Because it wasn't, as a sound, auto-tune generally in the UK, don't know wherever anyone will be watching from, but it's been taken a long time to get accustomed to.
I mean, my whole inspiration for that sound was off American music.
Of course,
So, like when I because I started doing M. Huncho shortly after I started doing D Block Europe, Young Bane, and all that sort of sound.
Yeah, exactly.
But I used to listen to like, Alex Toomey mixes, like Young Thug.
Same.
Because that's all that the artists used to get their inspiration from.
Precisely.
I'm like, okay, they want to sound like these lots. So
was you listening to that stuff for just like research purposes, or was it more just your taste also as well?
I mean, my taste is all over the place, and it changes every like. So, but I definitely at that time in my life, I was a massive fan of like that sound.
Do you know what I mean? So,
what have you been listening to recently then? Just on that note.
You put me on the spot. I like everything, innit? I like a bit of house music as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, who was good? I like the new Georgia Smith single. I like that sonically as well. I mean, I listen to everything. It's hard to kind of pinpoint. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because my missus listens to a lot of Afro beats.
Okay.
And I love the sonics on Afro beats.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
I work on quite a lot of it.
I'd love to do more. It's something I'd love to delve into. But it's like, so I listen to a lot of Burna Boy, WizKids.
Nice.
Home. And then, I listen to like house
music. You got a
music.
Burna Boy credit in it? Or you done like a tracking with him?
So Burna Boy did a track called Alone. I assisted that session.
Nice.
That was... There's like 3 different
Put
sessions.
him on a
Little plug.
It's great because actually kind of get to tell a little bit of a story. So there's 3 engineers on the vocals. I'm not one of them as I assisted the session, but basically 3 different days I think were accumulated to make the track. So I assisted Nick Mills. Big up Nick. But yeah, it was a great day. But even that's not so much Afro beats. Forgot the name of the engineer that mixed that record, but
wasn't that for the Black Panther?
It was.
Soundtrack?
It's quite big and quite anthemic sounding and triumphant sounding.
It's a sick track.
I feel like the sonics and Afro beats, like I think I understand why you say you want to get more involved in it. There's just so much more like dynamics,
soulful,
right?
Soulful, sweet.
Yeah, like musicality to it. Do you know what I mean? It's not like a sample and an 808 and let's go. Do you know what I mean?
I do a lot of like drill and trap, and it's like aggression.
Yeah,
everyone wants to be loud and color and aggressive.
Relax on the threshold of the compression and that sort of music.
Dynamics. And
yeah.
So man.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, on that note, I think we'll wrap it up there. Thank you so much for coming. Sean D's and his website and everything will be in the links below. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions for some of our other guests that we've got coming up, leave them in the comments. And see you next time.
Mixed Opinions Podcast.
Let's go. Cheers. Nice, man. Sweet. That was sick.
Was that right?
Is that all right? You